Today, I'm joined by Oliver Kempton from Envoy Partnerships. Welcome, Oliver, and thank you for joining Caspio's podcast. Can I please ask you to introduce yourself and share with everyone a little bit about your background and your current role at Envoy Partnerships?
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul. Great to be talking to you today. So my name's Oliver. I'm a partner at Envoy Partnership. We're a social value and impact management consultancy. What we do is we help organizations to understand, to measure, to improve and to report on the impact that they're having and the social value that they're creating for their customers, for clients, for society, and so on. And we're first and foremost, we set up as a consultancy to help organizations. More recently, we've been moving into the software space with a couple of platforms built on the Caspio platform, which is why we're talking today. And very excited to discuss that further with you, Paul.
No, great. Thank you for joining, Oliver. So you've been a customer of Caspio for 4 years. Can you remember what the key challenges were why you came to Caspio?
Absolutely. So we originally looked to help see what we could do to help the social value sector do better analyses, better social value assessments, better reporting on impact. And our view was that there were tools and frameworks that were available for people, but they were limited in a number of ways. They were either they forced you to use a preset set of outcomes and indicators and valuations, so you didn't have that flexibility to reflect the real impact that your organization's having, or they just weren't particularly strong. And actually what we would tend to recommend to clients is build your own assessment, build your own model on Excel, and that's what we would do. And that works to an extent, but actually often people want something more than that, something that kind of makes it a bit easier, a bit more manageable. So we originally published our social value ROI calculator. That's a free to use Excel tool, and that's still available, but we got a lot of positive feedback about that. And also people wanting more. And that's why we decided to build a SaaS application, essentially an online platform that people can use. And looking to do that, actually, it seemed that the low-code solution made a lot of sense because it meant that we could test, trial things, work out exactly what we needed and what our clients needed, and build that up organically over time, essentially. So that's why we came to reach out to yourselves.
That's great. Can you remember how you discovered Caspio? Was there something that while you were reviewing low-code providers that stood out for Caspio for you?
It's a good question. I think, to be honest, it just sprung up when we were doing an old-fashioned Google search. This was, of course, before you could ask ChatGPT or what have you to find you the best low-code provider. So and the way I saw it at the time was, we've got a spreadsheet model. We need to put that onto an online platform. I think now we all understand much better actually how it works, what we're doing, and it's actually that journey has helped us refine our ask, if you like, our kind of plan as well. I don't think there's anything more profound than that, though, to be honest. But it seems kind of fairly early on that the Caspio platform would work.
Yeah. What were your first impressions of Caspio when you opened the platform?
I think my first impressions is a while back now, but I think, gosh, there's a lot going on, but also this kind of feels manageable, if you like. I mean, it does seem to me that if you're able to think about your problem in a certain way, then actually the way it's structured kind of works, kind of fits, and it enables you to build something out. So I think like any tool, there's still plenty more that we're learning, I think, and plenty more for us to do and to develop. But actually in that sense, it was accessible. I think there's a good kind of training provision as well. So, kind of some of our team went on a training course early on to kind of learn the basics of it, if you like.
Oh, great to hear. So can you share with everyone a little bit about what your application does, Oliver?
Yeah, absolutely. So Social Value Manager is a platform for helping organizations to measure, track, report on their social value. In a sense, it does what it says on the tin. It helps you manage your social value. What in particular, our view of the market, and part of the reason we got into this in the first place, is that lots of organizations were saying, let's make social value easy. Let's make it easy for organizations. Let's minimize the amount of work that you have to do, minimize the amount of thinking that you have to do. That's obviously an attractive proposition. But our view is that can often mean people are doing this work that isn't really meaningful. And actually, in some ways, I think it's better to not spend any resource on this than do something that gives you a number but doesn't actually mean anything at the end. So we wanted a platform that is more meaningful for people, and therefore you can tailor it more to the kind of, the really interesting impact that you're creating it to fit the outcomes from your organization. And that means that it's got much more flexibility built into it. It also means that there are lots of different ways you can choose to measure it, and there's much more sophistication that underpins that measurement platform. That all, of course, means that you need a platform that can support all of that. But as well as allow you to do those calculations, it allows you to have a data management process. So what you're able to do is cascade to different people in your organization the responsibility for updating data, the various inputs that go into that, and then control that centrally. So you have an audit trail. And that for us is one of the big advantages of having an online platform rather than using Excel. You've got that control, if you like. And also, for us, social value is all about really understanding what impact you're having on people. And that often involves qualitative research, speaking with people, understanding their perspectives. We've built social value managers such that you can incorporate all of that into it. So some of the things we're doing with the AI integrations means that you can upload your transcripts now, and social value manager will look through them. It will identify the outcomes. It will pull those out for you. It will draw you a theory of change, a diagram showing how all these things connect, and it will allow you to import all of that into your model as well. Next step for us is to build it so that it can then go and find the appropriate valuations for you as well and suggest things like that. Making it a little bit easier to do a really good, high quality social value assessment.
It's amazing that, Oliver. Who's a typical end user for the application?
In many ways, it's any organization that has an impact on people and society, right, wants to show that, wants to demonstrate that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our work, both as a consultancy and with social value manager, is in built environment. So developers, construction companies, that kind of area. It's in health, often public health, things like social prescribing, anything where you're having a broader community impact. So often community charities and the like, supported by public health bodies, those kind of organizations. Global development, to an extent, skills and employment. In many cases, it's organizations that have the public sector as a major stakeholder. Right. That's often finds out. And for us, within those sectors, it's often organizations that are particularly keen to do social value well and spend a bit of time thinking about it and want to get something really meaningful, if you like.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. So I know, like you say, you've been with Caspio for 4 years now. Is there any particular feature that's had a really big impact on you and the application?
Yeah, so directories is relatively recent use for us. What's handy about that is that essentially the security element of it is handled already. So, security is one of those things that, I didn't get out of bed in the morning excited about making sure everything is secure, but it's really important, of course. It's absolutely essential.
Yeah.
So it's also something where we don't need to do anything particularly different around security. We want a high quality industry standard security framework, if you like. Yeah. And that's what we're getting. So you've got your kind of two-factor authentication, all of that kind of built in without us having to worry about that. So we can focus on the kind of exciting end benefits, if you like. So yeah, that's been a useful development. Talked about AI integrations a little bit already. One thing that I remember talking to one of your partners, the Caspio developer partners, a while back, who was saying that, Caspio don't shout about it very much, but actually it's very good at integrating with other platforms, the way it can connect. And forgive me for getting all the technical language wrong here, but actually the connectivity with external sources is really good. And I found that really useful as well.
A lot of our customers have looked at Caspio and low code from like an efficiency or a monetary saving. Is this something that you found, or both of those, that have impacted you by working with Caspio?
I think that's, in some ways, that's a next step for us. I mean, for us, it's actually about broadening our offer to clients, right, and being able to give them more and add value. But I think that as we build more into it, when we talked about the qualitative research and kind of analyzing transcripts and so on, it's not that we or our clients don't have to do that anymore, but it's like having another member of the team. working with us, but a member of the team that, gets it perhaps 70-80% right, but does it within 2 minutes, and now you've got something to work with. And that's kind of really helpful. So yes, it does in that sense. That is a time saving that we're starting to see emerge. It's not our top priority. Our top priority is how can we add more value to our work and what we deliver to our clients. But yes, that potential is definitely there.
Yeah, we find a lot of feedback from customers that they haven't suddenly got to go out and buy or to recruit a development team, or the development team can work on other things within the organization. Working with Caspio, and because it's low code, and obviously having a support team that's available 24/7, that really provides the support and confidence for people that are obviously working with Caspio as well. I know that you've worked with our support team quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm not a developer, and we don't employ developers directly. Yeah. We've worked with you and your team. We've also worked with Solutions Afoot. So they're one of your partners. So they've given some help as well. But also, you're right. The fact that it's on a low-code platform means that a lot of stuff you don't actually need to pay developers to do it, and that's really handy. I think when you partner that with AI that can just write lots of code for you, and then you can test it as well. Yeah, I think that it makes it much more efficient. It does create cost savings in the development process, but it also means that you can build in features that you would never have bothered with before because it would have been too high development costs, frankly.
Oliver, if somebody's watching this video or listening to the podcast, what advice would you give them if they're considering low code?
Yeah, I would say that if you're considering low code, then make sure you're kind of, as much as possible, really clear on what you're trying to do with your end app, but also don't kind of narrow it down too early, if you like. I think certainly from a personal perspective, what I found was good about low code was it helped me really refine the brief, if you like. Thinking back kind of to when we started with Caspio, if I had handed a brief to a developer saying, here's the app that we want to build, can you go off and build it? The brief would have been a long way from where it should have been. And actually working through the process means that you can kind of play with it, if you like. You can build it over time. You can work out what's going to work. You can test it with your clients and customers as well. Yeah. And I think it's it lowers a barrier to entry, if you like, which I think is great. So yeah, have a clear idea of what you're trying to do with it, but also be open to what other opportunities arise.
Well, Oliver, thank you for joining today's podcast. Thank you for being a Caspio customer for 4 years. Hopefully there'll be many more years of mutual success ahead. And we really appreciate your business. And thank you for joining.
Not at all. Thanks for having me. And thanks for the conversation today. Thanks all.